What up, guys? Kevin here with a review of Brothers, A Tales of Two Sons remake for I played on the PS5. I think it's on the Xbox Series S and X and PC. Got the platinum, so that probably tells you how I feel about this game. Yeah, this game is awesome, and it's not from the same studio as the original game, I believe, but the original game is all there intact. I will answer, is it worth buying and playing if you play the original? Which to me is the dumbest question I've seen surrounding this game, but I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this game is awesome. It was originally made by Joseph Ferris. I think the name of his studio is Hazelight. But if you don't know who he is, he's a fuck the Oscars guy. And if you play this game and then think of him in that moment, you're going to be like, no, that's not, no way that guy made this game. Because this game is an emotional roller coaster. It is a ride. When I think of games with impact, category that they have at Game Awards, of course, we think of the woke games. I think of this game. This is a game that is impactful. This is a game that makes you think. This is a game that makes you feel. This is a game that makes you go, wow, this is fucking gaming. So let's get to the bad stuff out of the way. It is a remake of a 10-year-old game. Now, I did look at footage of the 10-year-old game, the original game. I remember it looking a little bit better. I will say that. And I love the original game. So this game definitely deserves a remake, but this remake is very brown and very blurry. It is a brown filter game. It looks like somebody crop dusted the game. It just looks so brown. Which I don't mind. You get used to that. But the game is also pretty blurry at times. I had quite a bit of issues with the blurriness. I think maybe I got used to it or it gets better. But yeah, early on in the game, I'm like, man, everything's so blurry. Why is it so blurry? But that being said, the game is just so great that I'm just like, whatever. I'm having such a blast playing this game. Controlling can be a pain. Let's talk about how you control the game. You play two brothers, and you control both at the same time. The younger brother with the right thumbstick, and the older brother with the left thumbstick. And then if you need to interact with anything or do anything, you use the triggers for each character. And that's it. You don't use anything else. No other button you need. I can see people being frustrated, and it can be frustrating at times. My tip to you is if you're like moving right or in a direction of the right brother, keep the right brother ahead or in front of the left brother, and then vice versa. That way it doesn't mess with your head, and controlling feels a bit more intuitive that way. But there are times where you're going to get frustrated. But that's built in. You can complain about it, but then you're kind of complaining about the mechanic of the video game, which then it means it's just not for you. Now I have moments where one of the brothers like glitched out or got stuck. Been a few times. It's not a very long video game, mind you. It's like 2 to 3 hours long. But there was like a few times where I had to restart the checkpoint. It's a puzzle game. There's a lot of puzzles to figure out. Very intuitive. The couple that weren't, I think something was broken. There's one where I had to throw a cog across a gap, but the brother kept dropping it. And then eventually I just restarted it, and then he ended up throwing it like he was supposed to. But yeah, that's my issues. It definitely knocks the game down a little bit, but overall, again, I still really enjoyed it. But let's talk about the game itself. You play as two brothers. Your dad is sick, and you go to the apothecary that's taking care of them, and he points at a map. Now, this game's not in English. They use, I don't know if it's a different language. It sounds like a made up language, but what's going on is so universal, you can understand it. But basically pulls out a map and points at a tree to like, oh, go over here, and there's medicine. You can cure your dad who is dying. As you can see, I'm wheeling him on a cart. This is the first part of the video game. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything because this game has to be experience. The things you come across, the things that you do in this game, I don't even want to go over it just because I don't want to spoil it. You got to experience for yourself for the first time because you'll be wowed. You'll be like, whoa. Like, I've never done this in a video game unless you played the original game 10 years ago. And even then, it still feels fresh and new. When every other game I'm playing right now, I feel like I've done a billion times in the last couple of years. Like, oh, I'm playing this game. I did this the last 5 video games I played. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake. The last time I had gameplay like this was Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. But if I had to explain what it's like Uncharted traversal. You're climbing up cliffs, shimmying along rocks and stuff like that. A lot of that type of traversal, but the way you control the characters and the way you get around certain gameplay that it introduces is very new and fresh, despite it being a 10-year-old game. Now, the game is, I would call it a downer. It's a pretty downer of a video game. That's how I remembered it. But as I was playing it, no, about like 90% of the game is just a fun adventure going for a ride with your older brother or younger brother. And it's very lighthearted at times. There's a chapter in a game where you can go up to a girl's shooting basketball. She's playing basketball. You can take her ball and throw it down the well. You can be a dickhead. There's a scene where you're running from a dog and you're getting chased. And of course, the dog catches you. You're dead. And it's a lot of lighthearted moments like that. Very lighthearted game. Just, yeah, there's some moments that are, yeah, it's gonna be pretty sad. I'll say that. But yeah, not only that, you can interact with everything about like anything that just catches your eye. You could probably interact with and have a cute little scene to witness. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. This game is awesome. This game is awesome. Now I have to answer this question because I've seen some people even go as far as saying, "Oh, if you play the original, just stick to the original game." Here's what I'll say. Buy both versions of this game. Buy the original, buy the remake, and play whichever one you want to play first. This game right now it's $15.99. I think it originally sells for $20, but for some reason or they give us a discount at least at launch. But even $20, I think $30. For me, $40. I think this game is worth $40, and right now it's $15.99. $15.99 for one of the best video games ever made. Even the remake, despite its flaws, you're not gonna play a game much better than this. This is an experience. This should be a movie. As I'm playing it, I like games to be games, and I don't need every game to be a movie. But this game, I'm like, why hasn't there been a movie of this? Man, it would win the Oscar. Joseph Ferris would have to accept an Oscar, which would be ironic and funny as hell. That's how special and great this game is. I would transfer well to a movie as long as they keep it dark, because it is also a dark game too. But yeah, I don't know what the original game costs. I'm sure it's probably about the same price. So for what, $30, 30, $40? buy both games, play both games. You can play and beat both games in an afternoon. Again, this game is like 2 to 3 hours long. Um, that's what I would suggest. Now, the remake itself, if I had to give it a score, I would give it a 9 out of 10. The just how brown it is, how blurry it is, those couple of glitches where I got stuck. I think it'll drop a point. The original game, I think if I reviewed it at the time, I would have given it a 10. Um, the remake just it could have been better visual wise, and that's really all it needed to get a perfect 10. But everything else is a 10 plus 1,000. It's just that great. But yeah, Brothers Tales of Two Sons remake. If you're busy playing games and you just need a break right now, you're like, man, I'm like 150 hours into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Dragon's Dogma 2 or whatever game you're playing right now and you just need a break. This is that game. This is that game where you just need a little bit of a palate cleanse and you'll be very thankful that you did it. But all right, I gotta go. Done with my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Later.